the minimum number of members required to attend the meeting in order to see that the meeting is valid. So input tax credit of purchased goods and services will be available if the taxable supplies are received by the supplier. So the Association of Business and Industrial Houses are formed to promote and protect their common interest and goals. Hello everyone, I am Purnima, faculty in the Department of Commerce, Vidhyaashram Pre-University College, Temple of Excellence, Mysuru. Welcome you all to this session 6 on GST. Now, let us have a look into, in our previous session we had spoken about GST. Now in this we have some more facts about GST. Now let us learn about the Council of GST. What is the constitution of the GST Council? So here in the GST Council, we have the chairperson as the finance minister. So the finance minister of India himself will be the chairperson of the GST Council. Then vice chairperson to be chosen among the ministers of the state government. So any of the ministers from the state government, they can be chosen as the vice chairperson. And who are the members of the GST Council? So the ministers and of state and ministers of finance on taxation of each state. So we have a representation from all the states of India. So whoever is the minister for the state for taxation, so he will be taken as the member for the GST Council, and quorum is 50% of the total members. Now what do we mean by quorum? Quorum is the minimum number of members required to make it as a valid meeting. Suppose there are GST members, GST Council has 10 members. Then what is the quorum? If the quorum is 50%, then at least 5 of the members should be present in every meeting. So that is what we mean by the quorum. Quorum means the minimum number of members required to attend the meeting in order to see that the meeting is valid. Then next one is states have 2/3 weightage and center has 1/3 weightage. So in the council of the GST Council, the states have constitute 2/3 of the GST Council, whereas the center has 1/3 of its members. Then decision is taken by 75% majority. So whatever the decisions which are taken by the GST, majority will be for 75%, and then the council shall make recommendations on everything related to GST, including rules, rates, etc. So all decisions relating to GST, whether it is the rates of taxation or whether it is the rules regarding the GST, so everything will be in the jurisdiction of the GST Council. Now let us have some more facts about the GST. Now GST aims to subsume a plethora of taxes into one single tax across the country and make the goods uniformly priced across India, albeit some goods become costlier and some become cheaper. Now this GST or the goods and services taxes, it has replaced so many other taxes in India. So before GST came into existence, we had the octroi, we had the excise duty, and we had the sales tax, VAT, etc. So we had so many taxes. Nowadays it all has reduced only to the GST. Now because of this GST, now some of the most FMCG goods, that is the goods which are on the essential list, so they have become cheaper, whereas the luxury goods have become more costlier because of the GST rates. Next, with the implementation of GST, luxury goods have become costlier, while the items of mass consumption have become cheaper. So because of the GST rates, it is smaller on the goods which are for mass consumption, and it is higher up to 24% on those goods which are considered as luxury goods. As a result of which, luxury goods have become costlier and mass consumption goods have become cheaper. Then GST is not a taxation at source. It is a destination tax, or it is a consumption tax. Now, here we should understand that it is not a taxation at source, or it is a destination tax, rather it is a consumption tax. Now, what do we mean by this? So, here we should understand that GST is levied on the supply of goods rather than the sale of goods. So, as a result of which the whole concept of taxation has changed. A product manufacturing in Tamil Nadu travels through the country before it reaches Delhi, where the buyer or consumer pays tax for it. So, before GST was in existence, so whenever the goods had to pass through each of the state, so each of the state used to levy octroi or excise duty on the goods, and then it used to go to the next state, where again there was octroi and excise duty. So, in this way, if it had to just pass through 5 states, then all the levies and cess of each state used to be added to the goods, and finally it used to reach Delhi, where there will be again taxation on the goods which are being brought. So, this was just adding to the prices of the goods, and all this has been avoided because of this GST. Now, the Indian GST will have a mechanism of matching of invoices. Now, here we have a matching of invoices. Now, what is this matching of invoices? The input tax credit of purchased goods and services will only be available if the taxable supplies are received by the supplier. So, we should understand that in case of the GST, the tax invoice, whatever he has paid the tax, that will be available only if the goods are received by the supplier. Next, the goods and service tax network is a self-regulating mechanism which not only checks tax frauds and tax evasion, but also brings in more and more business into the formal economy. The goods and services network is a self-regulating mechanism which not only checks tax frauds and tax evasion, but also brings in more and more businesses into the formal economy. Now, with the advent of the GST, it is a self-regulating mechanism where any of the goods, whatever it is, if it is supplied by any of the supplier, and then it will be brought under the tax net. So, there are no chances of tax evasion at all. Then, anti-profiteering measure is one of the key factors of the recently implemented goods and services tax laws. So, these measures prevent entities from making excessive profits. Now, this anti-profiteering measure is one of the most important aspects of this GST. So, whenever there is any product which is to be sold, before we used to say that the local tax is extra, but then after the advent of the GST, so whatever price is printed on that packet, so that price has to be paid by the consumer. So, since the GST along with the input tax credit is eventually expected to bring down prices, a National Anti-Profiteering Authority (NAA) is to be set up to ensure that the benefits accrued to entities due to reduction in cost is passed on to the consumers. So, because of this GST, they have set up this National Anti-Profiteering Authority. Now, what is the work of this National Profiteering Authority? It is to ensure that benefit accrued to the entities. So, whoever is the supplier, he would have got the input tax credit. So, whatever the credit he has received or whatever has been the reduction in the cost of goods, that should be transferred automatically to the consumers. Now, how will the GST benefit and empower the citizens? Now, first thing is reduction in overall tax burden. Now, before GST, we had the VAT, value addition tax. Now, what is this value addition tax? So, whenever there was a value added to the raw material, whatever is the extra value added, on that value the tax had to be paid to the government. Now, we have just reduced all this. Now, because of this GST, we need not pay this central tax, central excise duty, octroi, etc. So, all this has reduced the tax burden for the consumer. Then, no hidden taxes. Now, we know exactly what is the tax rate to be paid for each of the products, as a result of which there are no cesses, no extra octroi or no central excise duty, etc. Then development of a harmonized national market for goods and services. Now, before this GST came into existence, almost all of the states, they had their own taxable percentage of sales tax. Now, because of this GST, we are able to bring the entire nation under one tax, and all the entire nation will be coming as a national market for goods and services. Then higher disposable income in hand, education and essential needs. Now, because of the reduction in the prices of goods and services, people are having higher disposable income at their hand, as a result of which they can have better educational facilities and they can spend on essential needs. Next, customers have wider choice. Why? Because the entire nation is one single market, and wherever they go, the prices are same, as a result of which consumers have a wider choice. Then we have also seen an increase in economic activity. So there are a lot of economic activities which are going on now because of the implementation of the GST, and then more employment opportunities. Now, GST also has been able to create more employment opportunities for the citizens of India. Now, let us have a look into what is the role of commerce and industry associations in the promotion of internal trade. Now, what are the different associations related to the commerce? So, it may be the Chamber of Commerce, Chamber of Commerce, yes, then Confederation of Indian Industries, that is the CII. So, we have the ASSOCHAM, Association of Chamber of Commerce. So, all these are various industrial or commerce associations which are there to help the business community. So, they are there to help overcome the problems of the business community. So, the Association of Business and Industrial Houses are formed to promote and protect their common interest and goals. So, they are there for the common interest of all the business community, and also to see that they support the business community. Whenever there is any issues before the business community, they just talk with the government and see that the issue is resolved amicably. Next, the chamber also aim at erecting sound infrastructure and simplifying and harmonizing the tax structures. The interventions are mainly in the following areas. Now, most of these associations of the business community, they are there for bargaining on behalf of the business community along with the government. So, they are intervening with the government, or they are having dialogues with the government relating to the following issues. Now, what are the various issues on which the commerce and industry associations are having a dialogue with the government? The first one is interstate movement of goods. Now, what is this interstate movement of goods? Suppose the goods are produced in Tamil Nadu and it has to reach Delhi, then it has to pass through so many states, and because of which they need to have proper road facilities. So, whether it is the proper road facilities or the railway facilities or the air facilities. So, all the infrastructure related to this transportation, they have been set up because of the interaction between the various business associations and the government. So, these business associations or the chambers of commerce, as we call them, they are helpful in registration of vehicles and also the passage of vehicles to the different states, as a result of which we can ensure that there is smooth movement of goods from the place of manufacture to the place of consumption. So, this has been possible because of the combined efforts of the various associations relating to commerce and industry. Then, second one is octroi and local levies. Now, what do we mean by octroi? Octroi is one kind of tax which is imposed by the state government. So, it is a source of revenue for the state government whenever the goods or people from the other states enter the state. So, they will be collecting this octroi for that goods and services. So, this octroi is a source of revenue for the state government, and this octroi, it will be adding to the value of goods. Now, with the advent of the GST, this octroi has been abolished, and now we don't have this octroi on almost all the goods, and because of which the goods have become cheaper. So, goods, when they reach the destination only then there the tax will be collected. So, this has been possible because of the talks between the Chamber of Commerce and various other associations along with the government. Then the next one is harmonization of sales tax structure and value added tax. Now, what is this harmonization of sales tax structure? So, before this GST came into existence, we had the sales tax. Now, what is this sales tax? This sales tax is collected on the value of the goods when it is sold. Now, each state had its own sales tax structure and it had to collect the revenue from the people. And after the sales tax abolished, we had this value added tax, or what we call as the VAT. So, this VAT came into existence. Now, both these were each state had its own percentage of VAT, because of which the Indian government thought of bringing in the GST, wherein the uniform rates of taxation apply for all the states. So, as a result of which, whichever state you go, you will find the good at the same price, because there is no change in the percentage of the goods, tax on goods collected. Then next one is marketing of agro products and related issues. Now, these associations of the business community, they are helpful in marketing of agro products. Now, how do these associations of the commerce and industry, how are they helpful in marketing of agro products and related issues? Now, firstly, they will be helpful in streamlining local subsidies. And secondly, they will be having an interaction with the marketing policies of that particular state, and in addition to this, they will also be seeing that whatever the agro products are there for marketing, so they will be properly marketed with the help of the local cooperative societies of that particular state. Then next one is weights and measures and prevention of duplication brands. Now, what do we mean by weights and measures? So, this weights, and there is a need for regulation of the weights and measures in all the states. So, there we need to have a mechanism which will check into the weights and measures which are offered by the traders to the consumers. So, the traders also should not get cheated and the consumer also should not get cheated. Now, it is the business community which has set up a regulating body to check the weights and measures used by the trading community to see that there is no cheating in the business. Then next one is the excise duty. Now, this excise duty, it is one of the important source of revenue for the state government. So, it is the state government responsibility to collect the excise duty on behalf of the central government, and they have to submit it to the central government. Now, this excise duty, it plays an important role in pricing of the product, because of which the price will keep on rising, and it is now the duty and the responsibility of these associations of the business community to have a dialogue with the government in order to see that the excise duty is not collected. Then next one is promoting sound infrastructure. Now, we should understand that for the flourishing trade, we need to have certain infrastructure. Now, what are the various infrastructure we need? We need good banking facilities, we need good insurance facilities, then we also need proper roads and railways and airways. Also, in addition, we need to have proper electricity facilities, etc. So, all this will provide for a very good business activity in the country. So, promoting sound infrastructure has become one of the main issues before the various business associations. So, they have a dialogue with the government or interact with the government on various issues and see that the proper infrastructure is provided to the business community. The last one is the labor legislation. Now, what is this labor legislation? All labor laws relating to the business or all the labor or the employees of the organization, they will be coming under this labor legislation, and it is the duty of these associations to have a dialogue with the government on issues relating to labor laws, retrenchment, etc. So, with this, we have come to the end of this session on GST Council. Thank you.